words are like blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, hey, I'm back. I know that last week, you weren't really sure if I was going to come back, right? I ended the last video with just sort of saying this whole vlog thing's still new to me. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy the process. I wasn't sure if it was going to be well received or if I was just wasting my time putting all these different video clips together. But I was very pleasantly surprised to find that when I did post this vlog from last week, that my phone kept exploding. I got all these beautiful comments from you guys, not only directly on YouTube, but also me just promoting it on Instagram and Twitter and Patreon. So for those of you who have already subscribed, if you're one of the first 75 people who subscribe to my channel, you are amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. And you guys kind of gave me the confidence to keep going with this vlog and just to see what would happen. So let's get into this week. I think I went a little video crazy when I was uploading all the videos from my phone into iMovie this week. It was over 91 videos. That's a lot of videos, right? So let's get into it. So Monday, oh man, I feel like I've gotten so much done since Monday. So woke up. I always have massive amounts of coffee, and the book that I'm reading this week is called Creative Confidence, which is actually a book that I'm rereading. I've read it before. It's by the co-owners of IDEO. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this. They run something called the D School at Harvard Business School. I think what I like most about this book is that it's a great example of how anybody can be creative. You don't necessarily have to pick up a pencil or have to take pictures or need necessarily do something that you would think would be creative. You could be creative in your everyday work, which I found very interesting, and it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, which is cool. So I go ahead, I wake up, and the first thing that I do is I check my email, and I was happy to find that I had a couple inquiries in my inbox waiting for me, which is awesome because I like money. You guys like money? Okay, cool. I think one of the more exciting things that happened this week was we started recording the podcast. Yay! Guys. I'm about to record my first ever episode for the Women of Illustration podcast. Ah! Okay, you ready? Let's get into it. There's always that little asshole voice, that little inner critic, like, oh, you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or like fucking like put the camera angle higher, you look like a fat ass. It's like, wow, that's so mean. Why are you just like, I don't understand. So we need to be able to drown out that asshole inner critic, so that way we're not being affected so much. Because not only does it start to affect us in how we interact with other people, but also the way that we talk about ourselves. And with this first recording, we really got to get into confidence. Confidence is the first topic we're tackling with the podcast, and every single episode is in 3 parts. So the first ever episode is all about imposter syndrome. The second is pretty much talking about how faking it till you make it is the worst advice ever. And the third is how we can build up our self-confidence, not only as artists, but as women. So with this podcast, something that we're doing a little bit differently is we're each having a challenge to try to either overcome our fears or our struggles being a working artist. So not only do the guests get to partake in challenge, but the host does too, which is cool, which we'll get into later this week. So when I went ahead and recorded the podcast, there were a lot of learning experiences, just figuring out what's the best way to get sound, really going into Logic and trying to figure out that program. I mostly come from a design background, so like even though Illustrator and Photoshop are my bitch, Logic is a whole different story. I feel like I'm in college again, but luckily I have an amazing fiance, that my amazing boyfriend Rick, who is an audio engineer. We went to the same school at Full Sail University. I studied digital arts and design, and he studied audio recording, so it's kind of perfect for this project. So Tuesday, going into class, went ahead, took another Uber ride out there. I love Uber. I actually got to get in a pretty nice conversation with all of the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers that I talked to this week. One of them was actually a struggling concept artist, and one thing that I love to do is actually give out my business card at the end of an Uber drive if I feel like there's something I could do to better connect with that person or help them in any way, especially since that's what I teach, right? I teach I teach other people how they can make money from their passion, and sometimes that's also strangers. Was kind of an easy week for me as a teacher. It was all day studio for both Tuesdays and Wednesdays class. So Tuesday, these are again the last semester seniors. They're just fucking rocking out that website, man. They're just getting shit done and just really trying to figure out all the nuances of Squarespace. And I even myself am learning so much more about Squarespace that I just didn't know was a thing. So just being able to see them progress, and the fact that I feel like these students are going to be at such an advantage by the time that they graduate, because they'll literally have a website that's just not a bunch of pictures like a lot of portfolio sites you see. They're able to talk about themselves and why a client would hire them, which is something I feel like everyone's website could use, and talking about their process and even better showcasing that process so clients know exactly how to work with them. I pull up to school on Wednesday with a new task at hand. I was disappointed to find out that all of the classrooms, like every single classroom in the school that had a computer lab in it, was booked. So when I'm trying to have my students finish up in InDesign their portfolio books, they kind of need a computer for that. So I had to go to the library and rent out like a shit ton of laptops just so those students could work in class, because learning software is a bitch, and sometimes you don't necessarily know what to Google or like how to ask a question inside of a search engine in order to get the answer that would actually help you. So it's nice to be able to be like, hey teacher, do you know how to do this? I'm stuck. Yes. So I think having studio time or lab time in the class is super important. So I got to start to see kind of the blossoming of these students' portfolio books, which was really cool. Which I thought it was really funny that a lot of them were using a tablet while they were designing. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but hey, it's an illustrator trying to be a designer, where my experience was I was a designer trying to be an illustrator, so just trying to get used to that different process. But these students' books are coming out really good. For some of these guys have never even taken a design course before, which I've mentioned in my last video. But these guys are killing it, and they're super quick learners, which gets me excited because I want to be able to introduce more design curriculum for the illustration students so they can just be better prepared in the real world. Thursday and Friday are always my really, really big studio days because I don't have class, so I can really focus on my craft. So Thursday, I made a lot of changes to my Patreon. So I have two patrons right now. I have one for Letter Shop and I have one for Woman of Illustration. So what I'm talking about today is the one for Letter Shop. I went ahead and I started a series called Lettering Adventures, where I'm literally showing you how to draw a new vintage style of lettering every single month with a digital workbook. We also include things like live streams and video tutorials, and I decided to switch things up. Now, I don't know if you guys out there have a lot of experience with products when you're actually getting them printed, fulfilling them yourself, and putting them in the post. It's a fucking bitch, and it's really expensive. And I was having a hard time not only enjoying that process, but it just seemed like everything that could possibly be against me happened. I had 3 different printing delays, shipping errors, it was a tornado of poop. So I decided to make a huge change with my Patreon and remove the printed zines, the printed workbooks out of the Patreon and replace it with something I'm calling critique coaching. So with these critique coaching, sorry, I'm just really into doing that for some reason. So with this critique coaching, I'm able to go ahead and tackle one project a month for my patrons. So what that means is every single step along the way, from thumbnails to rough sketches to inking to color to digitalization to final delivery, no matter if they're working on a client project or something that they're just trying to sell the usage rights for, or a product or something that they just want to showcase on Instagram and get a couple followers out of it. I want to be able to help them make sure that that piece is as good as it possibly can be so they can actually reach the goals of the client being happy, or, a bunch of new followers on your visual social media platform. So I was really excited to announce this. I even made a graphic that says "Get Better Faster" and shows you the kind of notes I'd be giving you, going ahead and making sure that your kerning is consistent with your lettering, that the spacing is good, that the visual hierarchy makes sense, that it's readable, that all of those nasty eyesores that get created with those pockets of negative space get filled in, so that way people just enjoy your work instead of trying to figure out there's something wrong here. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm just going to keep scrolling. So I have a new toy. So I have this amazing projector and I want to use it for some murals. So I literally put a post online this week asking if anybody here locally in Portland would like a free mural. And I actually haven't had anyone respond yet, which I'm just, I'm not going to take personally, like whatever, fuck you. So yeah, tell your friends, tell your boss, I'm willing to do commercial work or do something residential. I really just want to get this puppy in use. This guy right here. This guy right here, he needs to get used. And I think it'd just be really fun. So guys, check out my Dribble, check out my Instagram, look at lettershop.com, look at all the links that are below this video. And if there's a piece of artwork that you like that wasn't sold to a client, I'd be more than happy to make it huge and put it on your wall for you. Now, this week I will say that I was a little lonely because my interns weren't able to come in because they're too busy with schoolwork. Totally cool. So I had Ringo and Roxy on my side. They kept me company all week, which was super nice. So Fridays are the day that I ship out all my products. So I do go ahead and I started selling stickers and wall decals of this really cool design that is what I like to call Command Z. Just pretty much saying that done is better than perfect, to help inspire people to, instead of just sitting on a project for like months and months and months trying to make it even more perfect, just realizing that perfect is unattainable and is pretty much impossible. So you might as well just ship things out faster so you can create more work, because you're only going to get better the more projects you tackle, not if you just work on the same project for a year. So this product went really well. I sold out within the first week, which was super cool. And I only have a few wall decals and stickers left. So if you guys want to grab those and save a little bit of money, I now have a discount code, and just say, "I love discounts," all capital letters. I'm again going to put this below in the YouTube video. So if you guys are interested in checking out and getting the rest of my inventory out of my office, I'd super appreciate it, because rent is coming. Rent is coming. Rent is coming. And I would like to be able to pay my rent. Yeah. Okay. So I was like on fucking fire on Friday because I finally got rid of, I should probably not say it like that, got rid of. I released into the wild my last installation of the printed zine. This zine was called Mono 8 Script, and it was like over a month late trying to get out to my patrons just due to all these shipping and printing errors that kept happening. That was really out of my control, but sometimes shit just happens. But I'm happy it did, because it pushed me to only create work that I really enjoy doing, because I don't have a boss. I don't have anyone, pulling my strings. So if I'm doing something that I don't want to do, that's my own fault and nobody else's. So I felt like a huge weight was just like lifted off my shoulders, knowing that I don't have to do a printed zine anymore, and I can kind of lower the scope on lettering adventures so I can make more room for this vlog and for the podcast I'm starting and for future commercial projects with clients. So after I went ahead and dropped off the last zines ever, I got started on a new project. Now, remember earlier when I was talking about the podcast and how we were talking about confidence and how each person always takes on a challenge? So my challenge was all about how to boost my self-confidence. Now, you guys might have remembered that I started this vlog as a Test and self-confidence for myself. Look at me. No makeup on the internet. Right? Pretty awesome. Life-changing. I know. Hashtag no makeup, no filter. Oh, you're so dumb. Okay. So I went ahead and got started on this piece. Now, originally I was thinking maybe I'd go ahead and like create a poster of all of my past achievements just so I could look at and remember that I fucking got this. Like, I've been a freelancer for years. I made a ton of money my first year freelancing. I've traveled all over the world doing workshops and talks. I've worked with really amazing clients. Like, when I think about all the things I've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time, I feel pride and I feel good about myself. But there are some days that you just can't even get out of bed. You look in the mirror and you feel like a monster, and everything that you try to draw comes out like shit, and it really can just spiral really quickly. So instead of me just kind of creating this self-inflammatory, boastful poster, I just wanted to write the phrase, "You got this." And originally I was thinking I would put it on a sticker that would be a transparent sticker and put it on my bathroom mirror. So that way every morning when I would wake up and look in the mirror, I would remember that I got this. And then I thought, well, fuck, I think other people might like this sticker, right? So I should go ahead and make it for a bunch of people. And this product, this just idea that just stemmed from a challenge from my podcast, kind of turned into this whirlwind in my head, and I just started going off. If you've ever met me in real life, or you've heard from people who have met me, a word that gets tossed around a lot about me is I'm an idea machine. I don't know why I'm like this. I just have a really big marketing background, especially social media. And so when someone tells me that they're struggling with something, my brain just lights on fire and I just try to just word vomit all these ideas that maybe they could try so that way they could get more followers or more clients or something. So it's even worse when I'm doing that for myself for a product because I always want to make the most amount of impact. I never really think about money or all the little things. I try to think of, is this a product that someone feels compelled to buy because they need that in their lives? And that's how art should make you feel, you know? Okay, so stickers, postcard. What? Postcard? Yes, postcard. I want to make a 5x7 luxe fucking thick, nice ass paper postcard. It says, "You got this," in this beautiful gradient that I picked out that are actually the Women of Illustration branding colors. I'm just like really obsessed with pink lately. I don't know what's wrong with me. So it's going to be on beautiful paper printed by Moo, if you guys have heard of it. And it's got like that cute little stripe, a little pink stripe that's along the edge of the paper, which is cool. Now the front says, "You got this." The back, I'll put a little stamp on the bottom that says, "This confidence was brought to you by Dina Rodriguez." And for people who want to buy this postcard, I'm going to ask you for your Instagram handle or your website and kind of give you a little bit of a pep talk and I'm going to handwrite these on the back of every postcard. So that way you can just put it on your wall or, have it on your desk. And when you're having a low point in your day, maybe something I could write could help you through that next tough time that you have. Or even better, maybe this is a postcard that you'd like to get for one of your friends or family members that maybe struggles with confidence and they just have a hard time telling that inner critic just to shut the fuck up, where you could go ahead and write them a pep talk on the back of the postcard. So that's the idea. Let me know what you think. So I went ahead, I sketched it out, and I'm going to share a quick trick with you for those of you who might be struggling with making your lettering as good as it can be. So what I like to do is when I'm going ahead and I do the sketch, I fill it in really roughly so that way I can better visualize the thicks and thins and look at the kerning. So one way to help give you a visual cue to make sure that, let's say, all of the thicks of your letters are staying consistent, go ahead and draw like a little red line, whatever color you want. You can do this traditionally or do it digitally in Photoshop if you like. And then look at those lines. Go ahead and mark the thickest part of each one of your letters. And if one line is super longer than the other or super shorter, you know that they're not consistent. So then I went ahead and inked it, and I hope you guys are digging this design. Oh, all right. Work week is done. Sweet. I got to leave the house this week. super excited person. Don't ever get to leave the house unless it's for teaching. I got to go to a Halloween party. I love Halloween. I love Halloween. I didn't really have a costume. I literally just bought like a hat. But hey, it was really fun. And I ended up bringing like a really big crew with me to my friend Shannon's house over in Northwest Portland. It was a costume party. There were all different kinds of people dressed up. A couple people from Beetlejuice, some crazy clowns, a unicorn, Dora the Explorer. Pretty much just all over the place, crazy nuts. I had a ton of fun with all of my friends, and oh my gosh, I missed this. I think sometimes I just get so wrapped up in working, I forget to have a social life sometimes, and I know it's hard to say, but I forget about all these beautiful people that I've let into my life since I've moved here in Portland, and I've been here for like 5 years now, and I've met some amazing people. I met my friend Mark, who works with my boyfriend Rick, who is just so out there in the best way. I love his weird and the way he lets that freak flag fly. I also got Rick, my boyfriend, to leave the house with me. This is actually a very rare thing. And he wore like a little bit of a costume, and I just love him so much. And he was kind of a social butterfly on Saturday. I was really proud of him. All in all, this week was pretty amazing, and thank you again for watching this video or watching the last video, subscribing, following me, buying a product, giving me feedback. It's really so amazing, and I'm so happy that I'm able to share with you guys what I do on a weekly basis. And it wasn't until I did this vlog that I realized quite how much I do. And I think, again, it's just feeding that confidence loop for me, where I'm getting really good at this and at time management, and to the point where I'm able to help other people make money from their art. Is just, it just gives my life meaning, and I'm just so happy you guys can be a part of it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.